Flashes of sparks went everywhere, and the dark blue smoke thickened on the stage. Appearing from the smoke emerged a mare with brilliant azure fur, dark grayish violet eyes, and a pale cornflower blue mane, wearing a purple hat with multiple stars, a matching cape, and wearing wizard garments. Already my gut was telling me that this mare was trouble. She looked down at us and gave Twilight and the others an evil smirk. "Hello, Twilight and friends! Did you all miss me?" "Trixie!" they all shouted. "That's right. The great and powerful Trixie has returned to take her place as the most talented unicorn in all of Equestria!" Trixie boasted aloud, praising herself as her sparklers flashed and burst in explosions. What a show-off! She thinks she's all great, but my gut was telling me that she's just a show-off and a bragger. "Didn't you learn anything the last time you were here, Trixie?" Spike shouted. "Last time? Something happened before I came here? Guess I'll have to get the information later on." I looked up at the Azure pony and she had a pissed-off face. Guess she got humiliated by Twilight and the others. "Okay, Trixie, you're back. But for what? Payback? Revenge?" Twilight questioned, wanting information of the magician's return. Trixie just erupted in laughter at the unicorn's question. Twilight and the others just looked at each other, leaving me confused by her actions. Finally, she calmed down and wiped a tear from her eye. "Revenge? You honestly think this was for silly vengeance? This is merely to prove to all of you that I am a far superior pony than you and your friends, Twilight Sparkle," Trixie hissed coldly, earning a disgusted expression from Twilight, her friends, and myself. I was not liking her one bit. "What makes you think you're better than Twilight, Trixie?" Spike asked, pointing his finger at her. She then smirked evilly again, sending a little shiver down my spine. I don't like where this is going one bit. "I'll need one moment." She then walked off stage to the back. I looked at the others who were nervous to what's going to happen next. Something told me this wasn't going to end well. I heard the curtains open again and she emerged from it. The top of her hat had a horn that was glowing azure, making me note she was a unicorn. 2 objects were wrapped in the aura, and was thrown to the front of the stage with a loud thud. "Do these answer your questions, fools?" she asked proudly. The object she threw was a large scale, nearly almost as big as Spike. It looked very rough and had a scarlet color, which was a different shade of red. The other was a large, thin tooth that was 4 feet long and looked like to be a crocodile tooth. "No way. Are those... Spike couldn't even finish his sentence. The sudden shock appeared to have halted all thought-processing functions within his brain. To his reaction, this scale and tooth must belong to a powerful creature. "A scarlet scale and a tooth? That belongs to a Veronus!" Twilight finished just as equally shocked. Wanting more info about this, I stepped in and asked, Not trying to spoil the moment, but what's a Veronus?" I asked. Twilight's horn glowed and showed an image of a powerful creature that looks really dangerous. The monster had scales and had the color scarlet. It had spikes all over its tails, 2 big ones on its elbows and shoulders, red slitted eyes, a muzzle as long as a gharial's, which was a crocodile that lives in my world still. It stood on 4 legs and had 2 slender arms. A Veronus is a very powerful creature that lives deeply in the Everfree Forest, and are very powerful creatures. Finding one is extremely rare, since they live in the deepest parts of underground, and only come up to the surface when feeding or resting in the sun. Their scales are very tough, only can be pierced by tough material. Their teeth are capable of biting through steel with ease, but their jaws are weak. They can still bite through them and can breathe fire, Charlotte explained while the image faded. "Damn, this creature looks dangerous enough, but can breathe fire and has a formidable defense? And jaws that could bite through steel make this creature more dangerous than I thought." "But that's impossible," Spike assured. "No pony is that powerful enough or crazy enough to go up against something like that. How did you even get those in the first place?" More like no pony has ever been brave enough. And Trixie doesn't have to explain her victory to a simple baby dragon that looks like he should still be in diapers. Face it, Trixie has performed a feat which no pony would ever hope or even attempt to accomplish. Unlike you and your little lame six, Trixie boasted coldly, before giving a triumphant laugh as she placed a menacing burn on Twilight and her friends. Even Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy looked steamed. I too was at the edge of my rope. Not only was she a show-off, but she was also a bragger and a bully. I looked at Rainbow, who had a glare that could stare into the deepest of souls. Knowing what she's going to do, I stood ready. "Why, Ayada!" she shouted, about to run at her, but I quickly placed my hand on her shoulder, making her stop and look up at me. "Forget it, Rainbow. She's not worth it," turned to the rest of them. "We wasted enough time here. Let's go," I said, walking away. Suddenly, I was enveloped in an azure aura and was hauled into the air. "What the?" I was then hovered back to the group, but then went over to Trixie, whose horn was glowing azure as well. "What's the big deal? Put me down this instant!" I shouted, trying to struggle free from her grasp. Trixie was circling me while inspecting me. "Trixie has never seen a creature like you before. What are you supposed to be?" "I'm a human. My name's Daniel," I greeted while trying to keep my cool. Trixie then laughed. "You? A human? Don't make Trixie laugh! Humans are nothing but old ponytails!" I growled at her. She's now pushing my buttons. I was then wrapped in a lavender aura, was hauled away from her, and was rejoined with Twilight and the others. "You okay, Daniel?" Twilight asked me while the aura disappeared. "Yeah," I nodded while straightening my shirt. "She's such a loudmouth." "I hear that," Spike said, agreeing with me. "You stay away from Daniel, you hear, Trixie?" Applejack shouted at the magician. "Please! You hairless friend is simply a waste of Trixie's time. Trixie believes he may be some use to her," she said, not impressed. A sudden roar caught us all by surprise. The sound of this roar came from a very large creature. We then heard and felt the ground rumbling. I turned to the source and my eyes widened. It was Virenus. It was freaking huge, around 4 feet higher than Twilight's library. Drool dropped from its fangs and looked at us with hungry red eyes as it slowly made its way to the town. I noticed there was something wrong with it. A small hole was in the center of its mouth, and a slab of pink flesh was seen on the top of its forehead. My eyes widened in shock. Now that I put the pieces together, I snapped my head back at Trixie with a scowl on my face and pointed my finger at her. "You never defeated a Virenus in the first place! You simply tore the scale and tooth off of it so you can make yourself look better!" I roared. The ponies gasped and shot angry looks at Trixie, who was now frightened out of her mind at the sight of the creature. The Virenus heard my shouting and walked closer to the town. "Everybody, run for your lives!" shouted a mare. The ponies started screaming and running for the hills, and to their homes, hoping the Virenus wouldn't eat them. "You fucking idiot!" Rainbow roared, grabbing Trixie by the throat. "Because of you, the Virenus is going to make Ponyville into its personal feeding ground!" Twilight grabbed Rainbow with her magic and pulled her away. "Now's not the time, Rainbow. We have to do something before the Virenus gets here." "There's nothing we can do," Trixie said, getting up weakly. "By the time it gets here, we're all doomed." I looked back at the Virenus, who was now at the edge of town, entering for its feeding time. Knowing the danger every pony was in, everything would become nothing but rubble. I looked back at my sword on my back and thought for a second. They all gave me so much when I came to this world, and now it's time for me to return the favor. I nodded to myself and took my bag off my back. "Twilight!" I shouted, tossing my bag to her. Twilight turned and caught my bag with her magic. "Daniel?" I had a face of determination and smiled a little. "Get every pony to cover, and make sure they stay clear of the Virenus," I commanded. Twilight's eyes widened, knowing what I had planned. "Are you insane? You can't fight against the Virenus! You'll get killed!" The rest of the girls gasped in shock. "Daniel, don't go to it! We'll find another way to stop it!" Spike pleaded. I shook my head. "We're running out of time. If we don't act now, we'll all die. I'll be fine. Was trained under the best for something like this. Trust me, I reassured while smiling. They all looked at me, knowing this was a bad idea, but knew I was right. Please don't die on us, Sugar Cube, Applejack said with a tear falling from her eye. I smiled and nodded. I'll be fine. Now get to cover! I commanded and ran to the Virenus.